Welcome to another edition of the Final Wrap with your host, the NFL Exporter, live on DerekShapiroShow.com. You already know this is the place to be each and every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as I recap and review all of the games from each week around the NFL. Before we get into our first segment today, let's make sure you know how to connect with me on my social networks. You can follow me on Twitter at NFLExporter. You can go to Facebook.com/NFLExporter. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube.com, click on channels in the search engine, put NFL Exporter. For all the above, that is spelled NFLExporter. The call-in number to the show is 716-249-0552. And if you prefer to use email, the email address is NFLExporter@yahoo.com. Just leave your name, your city and state, your favorite football team, and whatever it is you like for me to talk about during the show. Just put it in the email and I'll make sure to include it in one of our segments. You also want to make sure on Twitter you follow Derek Shapiro at Derek Shapiro Show, and show is spelled S-H-O, so there's no W on the end. You can also connect with Derek Shapiro on Facebook.com/Derek Shapiro. You'll see a picture of Derek and former hip hop group, the Fugees member Wyclef Jean, in the picture with Derek as well. To get the show rolling today, we're going to start off by talking about some injuries, and especially at this time in the year where we're getting into the second half of the season, where teams are jockeying for playoff position and every single game counts. Some teams definitely suffered some major setbacks here. I'm going to start off with the Philadelphia Eagles, and this is a team that has been ravaged by injuries this year. It started off with 3 offensive linemen being out of the lineup. Then it was running back Darren Sproles. He missed a couple games with an MCL sprain. Now you're talking about quarterback Nick Foles suffered a broken collarbone in this past week's game against Houston. He is scheduled to be out 6 to 8 weeks, and that is pretty much the remainder of the NFL season. And so, Philadelphia right now leading their division at 6-2, a game ahead of the Dallas Cowboys at 5-3. But when you're figuring that Foles is going to, again, pretty much miss the rest of the regular season, Mark Sanchez has a huge task ahead of himself now, basically taking over as the starting quarterback. And so that's a huge loss there for Philadelphia. But Sanchez did come in and play well. We'll talk about that a little bit more when we get to that game. Also, D'Amico Ryans for Philadelphia, their inside linebacker, a guy who is a playmaker on the field, but also a great team leader and character guy for this team. He has an Achilles injury. Anytime you hear an Achilles involved, it's a season-ending injury, and that's definitely the case for Ryans. And so this Eagles team just continues to get badgered with injuries. Just when their offensive line is on the verge of getting back healthy, now they're losing some other key components. So we'll see if the Eagles can continue to move forward with those key losses there. You're talking about Arian Foster, running back for the Houston Texans. Now, he went down with a groin injury. The good thing for him is that the Texans have a bye week, and so he basically has 2 weeks that he can rest that injury, stretch it out, try to get it back. And good news came out of Houston. They said that the injury doesn't appear to be as serious as they thought when it first happened. They have him listed as day-to-day, so we'll definitely check back in on him next week to see what the status is. A couple quarterbacks. Now, you know that Tony Romo missed this past week's game against the Arizona Cardinals, in which Dallas lost that game. He had back surgery in the offseason, had a contusion to his back when he was kneed a week ago on Monday Night Football against the Washington Redskins. What came out of there were a couple small bone fractures, and so, in my opinion, this is serious. The Cowboys still have 8 games remaining on their, still have 7 games remaining on their schedule. And so they're playing in London this week. Romo is making a trip, and I think that speaks volumes as to how bad they feel their backup Brandon Weeden is. Look, you're playing the Jacksonville Jaguars in London. The rest of your team should be able to step up and get that win. But the fact that they're taking Romo, and if he's available, he's going to play. I think it's a real risky move at this point. You're basically putting your season on the line because if this guy gets hit again in his back, maybe if he turns the wrong way or tweaks it, and he's gone for the year or an extended period of time, that's the Cowboys season. And so I'm actually shocked that they are not going to entrust Brandon Weeden for him to play better than what he did, and they don't feel that their defense and their running game is enough to get past Jacksonville. So I got some major concerns there. But Tony Romo, if he can go, he's going to play this Sunday in London. Phillip Rivers suffered a minor hand injury. From what I hear, it's nothing serious. The Chargers are on a bye this week as well, and so a good thing he'll be able to get that rest. You shouldn't see any setbacks. He was basically taken out of the game in the third quarter because he had played so bad. The game was well out of hand. They were down 30-0 at Miami, so no need to keep him in there to continue to get pounded. Just pull him out and sit him down. The other person in that game who got injured was running back Lamar Miller of the Miami Dolphins. Suffered a sprained shoulder, and this is a key injury here that you want to watch out before. In the offseason, the Dolphins signed Knowshon Moreno to come and work alongside Miller in that backfield. And in the event that Miller maybe got hurt, Knowshon Moreno could step in now and take over the full workload. Well, as you know, with him, at first he suffered a dislocated elbow. The first game that he came back, he tore his ACL. He's out for the year. So now, depending on how serious this injury is to Lamar Miller, and they play this Sunday at Detroit, definitely going to be a physical ball game there in the trenches. So we'll have to keep up on his availability. If he's unable to go, then you're looking at some third and fourth string running backs, which may not play out too well for Miami. The last thing we have on our injury report is the Seattle Seahawks offensive line. Here's a group of guys who played without 3 starters this past week, and that being starting center Max Unger and tackle Russell Okung to note there. And so, Unger is supposed to be back this week with Okung. You remember we just talked about him a couple weeks ago, and he had been playing with a torn labrum, an injury that you can play with, but it's very painful, and especially for an offensive lineman who is constantly using his arms, his shoulders, physical on every single play with contact, made it just difficult for him to go. And so that's something else we're going to keep an eye out on. The Seattle Seahawks have one of the better offensive lines in the NFL over the past couple years, with Marshawn Lynch back there, always amongst the league leaders in rushing yards. But now with those guys out the lineup, we certainly want to see if that's going to have any effect on Seattle running the football or pass protecting Russell Wilson. And then Adrian Peterson, the running back for the Minnesota Vikings. Now, we all know that Peterson has not played this year except outside of week 1 against the Rams, and that was due to his case that is going on where he has been charged or is the charges against him are for child abuse to his children. Now, this week, Peterson is going to put in a plea. And that after that plea, which is what the NFL as well as the Vikings organization was waiting to see how this case shook out before they move forward. Once Peterson puts that plea in, then from there it's back over to the NFL and the Vikings. And I think this is a situation here where I don't think you're going to see Adrian Peterson back on the football field. I think if the Minnesota Vikings were going to make the playoffs this year, and we're in position to do that, you would think so. Right now, the Vikings are at 3-6, and so I don't think that's the case. I think you're looking at a team that is very young on offense with a rookie quarterback, a rookie running back, a couple second year wide receivers, a fairly young tight end in Kyle Rudolph, who should be returning in the next week or two at tight end. Very young defense. And I don't expect to see Adrian Peterson back, to be quite honest with you. Now, it is business, so he could be back on the football field. But the issue that I think he's going to face is, number one, if he puts in a plea, that's the same as saying you're guilty on these charges. And so I think after that, he's going to have to deal with the NFL if they decide to put any further suspension on him. A lot of people, or what's coming out of the media right now, is that all the time that he has been out would be a situation where I guess this may be looked at as time served. But I think even if the NFL doesn't give him any additional punishments as far as missing games, now you're looking at the Vikings organization. And again, This is a football team that has been playing a certain way all year long. Now you put Peterson back into the equation, and without question, he can help your football team running the football on the ground and creating some more balance. But I also think, what type of distraction could this cause for the team? Because you know that the media is going to be all over their locker room, all over their facility. You're now looking at a guy coming in who's going to be taking away valuable playing time from rookie Jerick McKinnon, who's been playing fairly well. And I think the biggest thing is the Vikings organization. If you recall, after he missed one game, the Vikings were going to allow him to play again. But it was a negative press. It was the governor of the state of Minnesota speaking out against Adrian Peterson, being able to play. Sponsors came in and said, if you're going to let this guy play in your football team, we're taking our sponsorship money away. And so, if you have those type of things factoring into the equation, I think the Vikings organization is going to have their backs pressed against the wall, and they're certainly not going to lose money, lose sponsorship, get bad press, lose some fans over one player. And so it'll be real interesting to see how this one plays out. Adrian Peterson's days in Minnesota very well could be numbered unless, some type of something positive comes out of his case playing. Let's go ahead and run to a quick break. When we come back, that's what this show is, the final wrap. We come on here every single Tuesday and recap all of the NFL games from each week. This was week 9. Had a lot of good games. There were 6 teams on byes, but what we do is, you've seen the final score. You've seen some highlights. You kind of know what happened. What I do is give you some in-depth analysis, some breakdowns. We really look behind the numbers and take a look at why these games played out the way that they did. So let's go to a quick break. Once again, I'm the NFL Exporter on DerekShapiroShow.com. You are listening to the final wrap. We'll be right back. Thank you for returning to the final wrap. I'm your host, the NFL Exporter. You're listening live on DerekShapiroShow.com. Don't forget, each and every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Derek Shapiro Show leading channel. You also want to make sure to follow me on Twitter at NFL Exporter, or connect with me on Facebook.com/NFL Exporter. Again, for both of those, that is NFLExporter. Let's go ahead and start recapping our Week 9 action from around the NFL. Things got started as the Cleveland Browns won 22-17 at home over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And this game was pretty low scoring. I think everything in this one pretty much went according to plan. Starting with Cleveland's defense, has played extremely well this year. Their offense continues to struggle a tad bit, but their defense shows up each and every week. And that's a unit that is certainly playing lights out. And I think as long as they can continue to play in that manner, Cleveland will be in every ball game. They just have to get their offense together. Speaking of Cleveland's offense, I think you got some changes that we're certainly going to see starting to take place now. Coming into this week's game against Tampa Bay, the Cleveland Browns have been rushing on average of 55 yards per contest the last 2 weeks. In their game against the Pittsburgh Steelers 3 weeks ago, they lost their starting center, Alex Mack, who arguably many consider the best center in the NFL. And so, after 2 weeks at Jacksonville, at home against Oakland, I wanted to give it a third game to put some confirmation behind it. But without question, the Browns struggled to run the football again. Starting running back Ben Tate ran for -2 yards. And so I don't think there's any question that Alex Mack being out of their lineup, and he's gone for the year. And so this running game has certainly taken some major steps backwards. And so when you're looking at Cleveland's running game now, with them not being able to run the football as effectively, it's putting more pressure on quarterback Brian Hoyer, who is certainly a good quarterback, kind of limited in his weapons, but he will be receiving Josh Gordon back to the lineup next week. And so I think that certainly will bolster and give Cleveland's offense a much needed spark. But when you look at their running back situation, Ben Tate is a guy they brought over in free agency in the offseason from the Houston Texans, and got hurt the first game of the year. So we really didn't see much of a body of work on him. Missed 4 games. And then when he came back, had an excellent day. Had over 120 yards rushing at Tennessee. Came back the next week, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns against Pittsburgh. Again, that's the game Alex Mack got hurt. After that, at Jacksonville, Ben Tate only 36 rushing yards. Last week at home against the Oakland Raiders, he only had 26 rushing yards. And then you're talking about this week playing at home against Tampa Bay, -2. And so what you're seeing was Terrence West come into the lineup. While Ben Tate was out, Terrence West and Isaiah Crowell, the 2 backup running backs there in Cleveland, but those guys played extremely well. So the Browns have a lot of depth at the running back position, but I think they need to just figure out which guy they want to go with and stick with them. With Tate struggling, now they're putting West in, and it wasn't too much more successful. He only gained 48 yards on 15 carries. And so, they've got some major issues there. I'm not sure who the starting running back is going to be moving forward. They were doing the committee approach, but they have a lot of talent. So let's see if Terrence West or Isaiah Crowell possibly get in the starting lineup just to see if they can add some spark to the Browns running game. Through the air, Brian Hoyer did what he needed to do, 300 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Again, a pretty good performance considering the team is not running the football that well. And so, again, I think for this Cleveland Browns team, once they get Josh Gordon back, I think his fresh legs, his ability to stretch the field, this guy is one hell of an athlete if you've ever seen what he's bringing to the table physically. And so Browns got a tough game this week going to Cincinnati. But moving forward, Josh Gordon will be back in their lineup. I think, if nothing else, their offense will get better, at least in the passing game. For Tampa Bay, the struggles continue, and I'm shocked. I didn't get a chance to really look at this game, but I do know that running back Bobby Rainey had 17 carries for 80 yards at halftime. And he ended the game with 19 carries for 86. And that just made me wonder what happened in the second half if you were running the football so effectively. The Browns right now statistically ranked 30th in the NFL, giving up 143 yards a game, and it looked like Rainey was well on his day to doing that. So I think you look at play calling being the issue here. This guy, again, 20 yards short of 100 in the first half on 17 carries. The whole second half, 30 minutes of football, this guy only gets 2 more rushes. So I got question marks about that play calling in Tampa Bay. Mike Glennon played well enough. Again, just weren't able to make the key plays at the key times. Again, Cleveland's defense, very tough, especially at home. For Tampa Bay at this point now, I think it's all about evaluating talent. This team has only won 1 game all year. They're not going to make the playoffs. I think they're trying to look at parting ways with Doug Martin, who had been their running back since 2012 when he came in as a rookie. Last 2 years been injury riddled, hasn't played well. You got some youth there with Mike Evans at wide receiver, but you got Vincent Jackson on the other side, a guy who wanted to get traded. That didn't happen, so don't know what his morale and motivation is. And you hear one of their team leaders, Gerald McCoy, saying that he doesn't see his team, and McCoy's a defensive tackle for Tampa Bay. He's saying he doesn't see his team getting upset enough about these victories. So I think this Buccaneers team is a group of guys who they've thrown in the towel. They see that the writing's on the wall, and I'd be shocked to see them win more than 4 or 5 games this year. Nonetheless, Cleveland is now 5-3, Tampa Bay 1-7. Moving on, Arizona against Dallas, and I do want to say this first, that even if Tony Romo had played in this football game, Arizona had very well could have won this football game. By no means, just because Tony Romo would have been in the lineup, that did not guarantee a Cowboys victory. So I wanted to put that out there first, and I'll continue to do that throughout any of my analysis on this football game. Who's to say Tony Romo may have not got injured in this football game? I think that back injury is something that could have manifested itself at any time. And even if Tony Romo played again, this this Arizona Cardinals defense, very tough. I think what it definitely would have happened is you would have seen Dallas more capable of passing the football, and I think that would have allowed DeMarco Murray to run more effectively. Arizona already came into this game ranked third in the NFL, only giving them 77 rush yards a game. Now you have a incapable backup in for Dallas, and allows for Arizona to focus on the run even more. Arizona has some good cornerbacks in Patrick Peterson and Antonio Cromartie, who, with a backup quarterback in there, can certainly hold their own in coverage. And that's what you kind of seen take place in this game. Dallas jumped out to a 7-0 lead when Carson Palmer was intercepted. Dallas ran the interception back for a touchdown. But after that, Arizona took control of this ball game. You had Carson Palmer, 249 yards, 3 TDs, only 1 interception. Very efficient with the football, spreading the wealth around. You've seen Andre Ellington, who had a great matchup. He was one of my top starts last week. Continues to do well running the football as well as pass catching out the backfield. But it was ultimately Arizona's defensive line being more physical than the Cowboys' offensive line, and that's the first time that we have seen that this year. And you knew at some point after DeMarco Murray ripped off 8 straight 100-yard games, at some point some team was going to step in and just not allow this guy to do it. And Arizona has the personnel, the experience. These guys know how to execute a game plan. They certainly were able to go out and, again, keep some extra men in the box on obvious rundowns to limit what Murray can do with the incapable backup. And that's what's got Tony Romo making this trip to Jacksonville. I honestly believe if Dallas would have won this ball game, or if Brandon Whedon would have looked like an NFL quarterback, I think that they would have sat Tony Romo out. But it was bad for Brandon Whedon. Just couldn't complete a pass, throwing behind receivers, throwing interceptions, throwing late. Just was uncomfortable. And I was actually surprised. Whedon, he has quite a bit of an experience in the NFL. Was a starter in Cleveland for a couple years. So to see him look that bad, I think it may have spoke volumes as to his preparation, and maybe him kind of being naive, maybe not thinking that he was going to get in the lineup. You cannot look that bad. This guy really looked horrible out there, to the point where, like I said, Dallas is kind of, in so many words, forcing Tony Romo to play this week against Jacksonville, mind you, a team who's only got 1 win on the year. And so Arizona now improves to 7-1. They are the firm leader here in the NFC West. Still a long way to go, but I like what Bruce Arians is doing out there. Dallas, they're now 6-3. They've lost 2 games in a row. They're 1 game behind Philly in the loss column. Those teams do have to play twice. But the Dallas Cowboys now have some serious issues that they've got to address. Really making sure that Tony Romo stays healthy. Moving on, Philadelphia got a big win on the road against Houston, 31-21. We talked about Nick Foles leaving out this ball game. That leads us over to Mark Sanchez. Came in, played well, 202 yards, 2 TDs, 2 interceptions. One of the interceptions was not on him. I wish they could come up with a stat to give the wide receiver some blame in these interceptions. One of his passes he threw, and the receiver just dropped it, and the ball popped up in the air, and the defense intercepted it. But now you're looking at Philadelphia like Dallas, and I think it's ironic. You have the top 2 teams in the NFC East, and they're having injury problems with their quarterbacks. And so, Mark Sanchez looks a lot more capable. It's a system that they run out in Philadelphia, and so they go out and get players to fit that system. And so it's hard to say. Nick Foles has certainly played well this year. There were stretches where he didn't look too good, but for the most part, he had ran the offense efficiently. I think the turnovers were the biggest issue that he was having problems with. And so, sticking Mark Sanchez in there, I don't think it's going to be that huge of a drop-off. Again, we'll see in due time. Obviously was able to come in this one and kind of coming with a lead and playing against a Texans secondary that was depleted. But what you're pretty much seeing in this one, I think when we talked about this game, it came to fruition. You have Philadelphia, who can put some points up on the board. Dynamic running back Shady McCoy was able to pace Philadelphia with over 100 yards rushing. Second time he did that this season. And Philly's defense, real opportunistic, not a solid group, but they certainly know how to get after the quarterback, and they seem to make plays when necessary. And so Philadelphia really came out and did what I thought they would do, put up 31 points and their defense, again, very opportunistic. When you look at Houston, what we expected to happen. Look, Arian Foster, this guy can't do everything. Now DeAndre Hopkins did have a good game through the air, over 100 yards, again, a touchdown. But they're really having issues getting Andre Johnson involved in the offense. Only one touchdown this year. And that's pretty pathetic, considering that Johnson is still a very good player. But Ryan Fitzpatrick, their quarterback, we've talked about it all year long. He limits this offense. He can't get Johnson the ball, and he's a veteran. You've got to find a way to get Andre Johnson involved. You have to do that. Under any circumstance, you have to make sure that this guy's involved in the offense. He's a team leader, and if he's not excited, if he's not motivated, it takes away from their locker room. And so Fitzpatrick continues to struggle. And to be quite honest with you, he's going to limit this team, as we've already talked. Houston now 4-5. I honestly believe if the quarterback play was better, this is a team who could be 5-3 possibly. And so they're now a couple games behind Indianapolis in that AFC South race. And I think the bye week is timely. You're really starting to hear backup quarterback Ryan Mallett's name be mentioned a lot more. Many people are wondering why he hasn't gotten out there already. And as I had mentioned, he's new to the team. He came over maybe with about a week left in the preseason, and so it needed some time to learn the playbook, kind of get in sync and rhythm. But I think the writing's on the wall here. This Ryan Fitzpatrick, a free agent pickup as well. They invested some money in him, so they're trying to give him a chance. But with him at quarterback, I can tell you this team is not going to make the playoffs. Kansas City played at the New York Jets. I think this game went into according as planned as well. The Jets went with Michael Vick this week, but as we told you, the wide receivers, the offense didn't change. So it didn't matter who was going to be in there at quarterback. This offense is limited. Now, I think you did see a little bit more playmaking ability. Vick running that wildcat formation. So you've seen Chris Johnson get in there, have his best game of the year with 77 rush yards. Vick, though, ineffective through the air. It's tough. It's tough. You got Eric Decker. They did bring over Percy Harvin, who had a very good game as a Jet, had 11 catches for 123 yards. And so you certainly like that production there. But those are really the only two targets. And for the Jets, it's just about being ineffective in the red zone. They had another opportunity to score a touchdown. They come away with 0 points. And, it's just a group where the losses are mounting. 8 straight they've lost now. This team is 1-8. And it's hard to go out and practice during the week when, let's face it, you're expecting to lose every week. It's difficult to stay motivated. It's difficult to stay hungry. And so, another bad outing for the Jets. They're done. And for Kansas City, a team picking up momentum here. The Chiefs are now 5-3. They're in second place, just one game behind the Denver Broncos, who they will face again. Defense continues to play well, dominant in the trenches. Justin Houston and Tamba Ali can get after the quarterback. That for sure. And, they do what they do on offense. You're running Jamal Charles. You have Niles Davis, a nice change of pace backup running back to help facilitate the running game as well. And Alex Smith, again, the master of the short passing game. You see him a lot of games completing, 21 out of 25 passes, 22 out of 26 passes. This guy dinks and dumps his way down the football field, 3 yards here, 2 yards here, 6 yards here. Nothing down the field, nothing vertical. This is a very short passing game. He takes his shots when necessary. But again, it's a formula that's working. So why disturb it? And so Kansas City, very strong, won a couple games at Arrowhead Stadium, just an extremely difficult place to play. Cincinnati beat Jacksonville 33-23, and I must say Jacksonville, a group playing much better as of late. You got to give head coach Gus Bradley another team with one win, but I think the effort that I'm seeing out of them as opposed to the Jets is probably what's got this young team excited to play football every week. Now this was a close game here for the most part. Cincinnati able to pull away at the end. Cincinnati led by rookie running back Jeremy Hill, 149 yards, 2 touchdowns. Great to see him at full capacity. He had been a backup to starter Giovanni Bernard, who missed this game with a hip injury, and really just wanted to kind of give him a rest. He's certainly had a lot of wear and tear on his body in this new Hugh Jackson run-heavy offense, but the Bengals did enough to win. A.J. Green back on the football field healthy. I think that's the biggest revelation the Bengals can take away from this one. Green had been struggling with that toe injury all year, but was able to get back out there, play. He actually had 3 touchdowns on the day. 2 of them were called back. One was his fault. He lined up illegally, a little rust there. The other one, there was a penalty, but he still scored again later in the game. The guy was really helping him out, though, in A.J. Green's absence is Mohamed Sanu. Another big game. 4 catches, 95 yards, a touchdown. This guy has been an absolute stud and really helping Cincinnati's offense continue to have some type of threat in the passing game while A.J. Green is out. But I'm concerned about this Bengals defense. You know, this is a group that lost their defensive coordinator, Mike Zimmer, who's now the head coach over in Minnesota, and just not playing football the way I like to see. Yes, in spurts they're playing well, but ultimately you had a rookie quarterback here in Blake Bortles, very young offense for Jacksonville. As we've talked about with the Jags, their season is done as well, only 1 win. But this is a young group. You got a rookie quarterback, a third-year running back who's just become the starter in Denard Robinson. So I think for Jacksonville, it's just really about identifying what players this young team is going to go with moving forward. And I think we're seeing that nucleus with Blake Bortles at quarterback, Denard Robinson at running back. You have some good, talented rookie receivers in Allen Robinson. Allen Hurns had 2 touchdowns and over 100 yards. You have Marquise Lee. And so I think this is a group that has its young skill position players in place. And they'll deal with the struggles. It's all about experience for this Jacksonville team. Just not enough right now to contend with the better teams in the NFL. But I like what they're doing. Cincinnati now 5-2-1, just a game ahead of Pittsburgh in the AFC North Division. Again, they've got a huge game this week playing at home against Cleveland. First place potentially on the line there. Next, we've seen the Miami Dolphins just absolutely throttle the San Diego Chargers 37-0. This one was over before it could even get started. And you know what? Bad coaching sometimes plays into these games. Look, San Diego comes out on their first drive. They move down the football field. They have a 4th and 1. You're on the road. You're playing a very tough Miami Dolphins defense. And instead of kicking a field goal to put some points on the board early, they elect to go for it. And they don't make it. And I think that kind of set the tone. You know, you get the crowd into it early. You know, guys are pumped up, and you know it kind of just is just a sends a bad vibe. I think to your kicker, and it's not smart football. Take the 3 points on the road, continue on. And so Miami came out this one, and you got to look behind the numbers. I talked about this on one of my other shows yesterday. Head coach Joe Philbin's father had passed away. And so this was a game that Miami wanted to dedicate to their coach. They came out, they played for him, and they you seen it. They played lights out. They were not going to let their head coach down. You had Ryan Tannehill play his best game of the year. We're starting to see him come around now, and that's good for Miami. This is the second time in 3 weeks that he's been up over 250 passing yards and 3 touchdowns, and so did an excellent job out there, very aggressive from the outset. It's always good when he can get tight end Charles Clay involved in the football game early, but this one is well about the Miami Dolphins defense. This is a unit coming into the season that I certainly seen on paper had the potential to be a top 10 ranked defense, and they are certainly rounding into form. You got Cameron Wake and Oliver Vernon bringing the pressure up front. They're tough against the run. They got big guys inside with Randy Starks and Jared Udrick, and their secondary is playing well. You got Cortland Finnegan and Brent Grimes on those corners, feisty, physical corners who will certainly get up in the receivers' faces. And then over the top, you got Rashard Jones playing free safety. Louis Delmas coming over to lower the boom. He's a playmaker, a good tackler. And so I love what I'm seeing out of this Miami Dolphins defense right now, giving opposing quarterbacks fits, especially playing in Miami. If you look at what they did to Tom Brady week 1, even though Aaron Rodgers was able to sneak a victory out of Miami, they gave him a long day. They went out a couple weeks ago to Chicago, made it a long day for Jay Cutler, and they got 3 turnovers, 2 interceptions returned for touchdowns to be the difference in last week's game against rookie quarterback Blake Bortles in Jacksonville. They come back this week, pitch a shutout, hold Phillip Rivers to 140 passing yards and 3 interceptions. And so this is a group right now who is certainly starting to find a stride. I think as long as the Dolphins defense plays as well, like Cleveland, they'll be in every single ball game. The Dolphins now 5-3, sitting in second place in the AFC East Division. Let's run to another quick break on the NFL Exporter. You are listening to the final wrap. When we come back, we'll finish wrapping up our Week 9 games from around the NFL on the Derek Shapiro Show. Welcome back to the Derek Shapiro Show. You are listening to the final wrap with your host, the NFL Exporter. Let's go ahead and get back into recapping our Week 9 action from around the NFL. We had the Minnesota Vikings win a very close ball game at home, 29-26 over the Washington Redskins. In this game, we've seen the return of Redskins quarterback Robert Griffith III. And in my opinion, he played a pretty solid ball game. Look, this is a guy who hadn't been on the football field in over 2 months. You're playing a Minnesota Vikings defense that is playing extremely well under new head coach Mike Zimmer, who was the defensive coordinator last year for the Cincinnati Bengals. So a very tough defense here. A road game, and RG3. He had his good spots as well as his bads. He completed 18 out of 28 passes for 251 yards, had one touchdown, one interception. So I think, for a guy who hasn't basically played all year, you have to give him the benefit of the doubt there. I think he looked good on some throws, and particularly the deep ball to Deshaun Jackson. But I think right now you're looking at a quarterback who's going to have to reinvent himself. He's not the same quarterback that he was as a rookie in 2012, where he was able to outrun defenders. And outside of being able to pick up random 6 and 10-yard runs here and there to keep the chains moving and keep the Redskins in very manageable second and third down situations, you're looking at a quarterback who has to break out of the pocket sooner than what he had to, and when he's scrambling, he can't outrun defenders now. He used to at least be able to outrun defenders to, like I said, pick up a couple yards or protect himself. Now once he breaks the pocket, even as he's scrambling away and throws the football, defenders are close enough to still get a hit on him. And so I think this is a quarterback right now who, if that knee is not going to be able to get back to 100%, and it's not, let's face it. If it was, he would not be playing with that brace on that knee. And so I think we're looking at a quarterback who's got to find a way to reinvent himself, but nonetheless played well. You got Alfred Morris for Washington. Paced him on the ground, 92 yards, 2 touchdowns. You certainly like to see that. But it's the offense as a whole that has not been able to come together. And I think that's what's missing in Washington right now. Deshaun Jackson had 4 catches for 120 yards and a touchdown. You love that. But where's Pierre Garcon? Where's Jordan Reed? Where's Andre Roberts? This offense has quite a few weapons, and you're really only seeing 2 guys thrive. And so I think they've got to find a way to get everybody involved. And then the weakness of this Redskins defense continues to be their secondary. They're pretty physical in the trenches. Jim Haslett doing a great job bringing some different blitz packages and things of that nature. But on the back end, they struggle in coverage, and that's where you see teams exploit Washington on a week in and week out basis. Now, to me, the key play in this ball game was that the Redskins were up 10-0 with about maybe a minute left before halftime, and Robert Griffith III throws a costly interception that allows Minnesota to score a touchdown right before halftime. And I think if Washington goes into that game at halftime up 10-0, they come out of there with a victory. So, even though RG3 played well, that interception was huge. For Minnesota, rookie quarterback Teddy Bridgewater, again, he has some good moments. He has some bad moments. I think more than anything, him getting in sync with his wide receivers continues to be the biggest issue, that being Greg Jennings, Cordero Patterson, Forget the other wide receiver, young guy, Jarius Wright, that they have out there. You're continuing to see him struggle there. The difference in this one was Matt Asiata, the power back, was able to cash in on 3 goal line or carries inside the 10-yard line to ultimately give Minnesota the victory. Minnesota was able to just hang in long enough, make enough plays, and when they got into the red zone, were able to capitalize with 3 touchdowns. If the Redskins can hold them to some field goals there, again, a different ball game. This one came down to the last drive, though. RG3 was unable to complete a very makeable pass to Pierre Garçon. He did have to throw back against his body, but I think you're seeing the rust and fatigue there. That's a throw that you expect for an NFL quarterback to make. That throw to Garçon, if completed accurately, Garçon had tons of running room there, so I think that was a game that Washington could have potentially won or went to overtime. But nonetheless, a much-needed win there for Minnesota. Both of these teams are now 3-6. St. Louis and San Francisco, and difficult for me to talk about this one a little bit here. I'm a 49ers fan. I think most of you who tune into the show or follow me on Twitter or are with me on Facebook know that. And just a poor performance. I mean, absolutely pathetic. You looking at the 49ers. This is a team that's been to 3 straight NFC championship games. You're fresh off a bye week. You had 2 weeks to prepare for this football game. You got the St. Louis Rams limping into town. A rookie quarterback, a rookie running back. They lost their number 1 receiver last week for the season. They lost their top tackle for the entire season last week. No way do you lose this football game. They come out in this thing flat. It's just disturbing. I tell you, it's really disturbing. Let me just deal with the facts in this one. San Francisco's defense played well and did exactly what they were supposed to do. They held the Rams to 1 touchdown, 2 field goals, and the second field goal, the punter for the 49ers, who, by the way, decided to get in on a poor performance this week. The second field goal by the Rams was a gift wrapped to them. The punter, Andy Lee, punts from his end zone, and this guy punts it to the 49ers' own 29-yard line. So to start that drive off, St. Louis was in field goal range without even having to run one play. And that ended up being a difference in the ball game. You look at this game, San Francisco, unable to run the football, just their weaknesses exposed. And you got to give Jeff Fisher and St. Louis the credit. Give them the credit. San Francisco beat St. Louis 3 weeks ago, and St. Louis made the adjustments. They came in with a better game plan. Again, you don't know how. They just got clobbered last week, 34-7 against Kansas City. But give them credit. They were able to limit the 49ers on the ground, which led to the 49ers having to pass more than they would like to, which led to the 49ers' poor pass blocking offensive line being exposed to the tune of the Rams getting 8 sacks. And Colin Kaepernick and that offense, they look horrible. They look horrible in the preseason. We've seen them in spurts here in the regular season. But this is a team that I can tell you this much. We understand the injuries. We understand that. But most of them on the defensive side of the football, where that unit has exceeded expectation by far. Myself included, along with a lot of other NFL media and analysts, thought that this 49ers defense were going to take some huge step back. Being without Navarro Bowman, being without Alden Smith, you lose your top 2 defensive backs to free agency. You got a new safety in there. You certainly thought this was a group that was going to take steps back, but they've continued to play well. But that offense, and Frank Gore echoed this, and this is the second time this year that Frank Gore has said it, and this is something that, this is a reason they call me the NFLExporter. You hear me say things, and then you hear other analysts, other commentators, other reporters, or even players say things that I say first, meaning that I'm just able to see clearly and identify with the problems. And the problem that the 49ers have is they've lost their identity. This is a team that runs the football. They run it early, they run it often, they run it late, they run it down your throat. And they've come away from that identity. They're choosing to let their high-profile quarterback, Colin Kaepernick, throw the football way too much. He's not a guy who's going to wheel and deal from the pocket and win your football games. He doesn't have the recipe, the formula. It's not there. Their offensive line can't pass protect. That's why they had to get rid of Alex Smith because he's running for his life back there. And Colin Kaepernick, give you an opportunity to make plays out the pocket and can run, but they can't pass protect. They don't have the receivers to do the damage that Kaepernick or a passing offense would allow. Anquan Bolden, Michael Crabtree, they're good receivers, but they're possession receivers. They can't stretch the football field. They don't have the foot speed. They're not blazers. And so you don't have an offense in place to lean or try to rely heavily on the pass. When Colin Kaepernick was having his most success, it was off of play action with Frank Gore. Okay, and so unless this team, and you heard Frank Gore say it, he complained about it when they lost at Arizona when they came out past happy and they only gave him the football 6 times. You hear him from Frank Gore again this week. They only giving him 14 carries. We lost our identity. Run the damn football. It solves all your problems. And the biggest thing that you're seeing from this 49ers team, who, by the way, lost this game, on a quarterback sneak in which Colin Kaepernick fumbled on the goal line, but bad play calling, bad time management. Look, you're first and goal from the 2-yard line. You're down 3 points. So a tie, worst case scenario, inevitably. You got some flexibility with your play calling because you got first and goal with about 20 seconds left and 1 timeout to spare. Hand the football off to Frank Gore. End the discussion. Or maybe, run Colin Kaepernick, maybe a play action, a bootleg, quarterback. There were so many options. You got, Vernon Davis at tight end. Instead, they come out, they throw the football, which if Colin Kaepernick could throw an accurate football, it would have been a touchdown. Crabtree's got to dive and try to, corral this thing off the ground. Second down, you go play action. It's covered. You throw the ball away. Third down, you try to go quarterback sneak, and again, you don't even get the ball from the center cleanly, and then you fumble on the goal line and lose the football game in essence. And so I think there's more than enough blame to go around and point fingers at that San Francisco 49ers team. Their head coach, their coaching sucked as far as offensive game planning was concerned. Colin Kaepernick sucked. He is not playing good football at quarterback. He's not earning that big contract they gave him. And even the punter got in on the action. Special teams sucked this week. So good win for St. Louis. They're now 3-5. 49ers struggling big time at 4-4. New England beat up on the Denver Broncos 43-21. Looking at this game in hindsight, I'm not shocked after seeing how Denver played. Look, Peyton Manning, you know what? When he plays the New England Patriots, he wears panties. I'm going to be the first to say it. I've never seen a quarterback go with a more conservative game plan and approach when it comes to playing Bill Belichick and the Patriots. And this is my thing. As good as New England is, look, Peyton Manning, this is not Romeo Crennel as their defensive coordinator. This isn't Ty Law, Willie McGinnis, Teddy Bruschi, Mike Vrabel, Rodney Harrison, Asante Samuel. Have you noticed that by any chance, Peyton Manning? Look, you threw for 55 touchdowns last year. You set the single season record for passing yards in a season. You've got Demaryius Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, Julius Thomas, Wes Welker, Ronnie Hillman. A couple other guys on that team talented. Get out there and throw the football. Spread New England out. Throw the football. New England does not have a pass rush. Their top sack guy, Chandler Jones, is still out injured. And you want to come out, Peyton Manning, and run the football, these wide sweeps, getting nowhere, no times to. And listen, I understand that one of New England's weaknesses that you want to attack as they're vulnerable to the run. We've seen Miami run all over them. We've seen Kansas City run all over them. We've seen the Jets run all over them. But guess what? Those teams are teams that want to run the football first. See, in Denver, they don't have a team that's run first. So it's not, you can't just flick the light switch on this week and it's going to work. Stick to your strengths, Peyton Manning. Come out here, take your panties off, okay? Man up, come out in 4 or 5 receiver sets and slice up and dissect this New England Patriots defense. That's what I want to see. So I have no respect for Peyton Manning. Yeah, okay, great. He threw for 438 yards, 2 touchdowns, but 2 interceptions, overthrowing receivers. It just wasn't sharp. 4th and 2, you come away with nothing in the red zone. You got another 4th down, you're going for it. Not execute. Just not good football. And so I wasn't impressed with Denver at all. I would tell you that. And you know what? Their free agent pickups didn't do anything. That was the biggest thing I also wanted to see. They brought over DeMarcus Ware. They brought over T.J. Ward at safety. They brought over Aqib Talib at defensive back. You got this defense coming in tough against the run. Big Knight up there in the trenches, but did nothing. Von Miller, he can get after the quarterback. They did nothing. It didn't matter. These free agent pickups were just names this past Sunday, and so. Denver, they'll continue to do what they do. I'm quite sure they'll bounce back and blow Oakland out this stadium. But this year, we'll see if this game comes back to haunt them. This was a game that New England came in saying, you know what, we want home field advantage. And if it comes down to having our records tied with Denver, let's come out and execute. So on the flip side, what you seen was Tom Brady come out. And he wasn't thinking about running the football. He ran the football enough to keep New England off balance. But Tom Brady went to work, is what Tom Brady did. He came out, threw 4 touchdowns. Rob Gronkowski continues to be a beast out there. 9 catches, 105 yards, a touchdown. Julian Edelman played big. He had a touchdown catch. Brandon LaFell continues to be an intricate part of this offense. He had 56 yards and a touchdown catch. And Julian Edelman really provided the spark in this football game. When New England up 13-7 in the second quarter, 84-yard punt return for a touchdown to really blow that game open and get the adrenaline flowing through that stadium. And so, look, the New England Patriots, a team that I'm not sold on still on defense. I just see Peyton Manning cower up, turn into a coward when he plays Bill Belichick and Tom Brady out in Foxborough. But I'm still not sold on this Patriots defense. I still think they're vulnerable against the run. And I think the secondary is starting to round into form a little bit. I'll give them credit for that. But I think what I see on far too many occasions is most teams, they don't aggressively attack New England. Hell, if you're going to lose, go down with a Warriors mentality. Both those teams now 6-2. Seattle was able to barely hold on 30-24 at home over Oakland. And I think this game went as planned. The score being a close game. Look, Oakland has continued to play tough. You're gonna go through your growing pains. You have a rookie quarterback. You don't have much of a running game. You got young receivers. Andre Holmes, a rookie. Michael Riviere in his 3rd year. James Jones, he's a veteran, but just a young group on offense. And their defense comes out and plays tough, but just can't hold on. They don't have enough continuity there to the point yet where they've been able to put a full game together to where the defense makes the stops and the offense can make the plays. It comes in spurts. Either the offense is making plays and the defense isn't doing well, or the defense is playing well and the offense isn't putting points on the board. And so Seattle got a big day from Marshawn Lynch, over 150 all-purpose yards, 2 touchdowns. Russell Wilson did what he needed to do. But this was a game that I think right now we're seeing the Seahawks. They're not the team from last year. Their defense dominated early, but when you still end up give up enough plays and only lose by 6 at home. This is a game very well where if maybe there were some more time on the clock. Oakland had an opportunity possibly to steal one here, and so Seattle, much needed victory at home. They're now 5-3. Starting to play a little better. I think they're inside the clubhouse is where matters are starting to calm down the most, which would certainly work wonders for the Seahawks team. Raiders still the only winless team in the NFL right now. You got Pittsburgh playing against Baltimore, and this was one here. Again, if you got to look in behind the numbers. The Steelers retired their Hall of Fame defensive end Joe Green's number that night, and that defense certainly played in his energy. They came out, and after a slow start, and this was a game here that, again, turnovers just kill these Ravens. I have to say this about Baltimore. Their defense shows up weekly, but their offense is inconsistent, very inconsistent, especially on the road. Look, Baltimore has full control of this ball game. They're up 7-0. They're up 10-0 in the second quarter. What about maybe 6 or 7 minutes left? They're driving the football down the field, and rookie running back Lorenzo Taliaferro fumbles. It leads to a Pittsburgh touchdown. They're in at 10-7. Then you got Joe Flacco under pressure, and instead of taking the sack, he throws an ill-advised interception. There was not a single Raven in the area. Pittsburgh picks it off, takes it back to the Ravens territory. Now Pittsburgh capitalizes. You got a 14-10 ball game, and from there was all she wrote. This Baltimore team, as we spoke about, Joe Flacco continues to be unexplainably inconsistent on the road as a seventh-year quarterback who's won the Super Bowl in this league. There's no excuse for it. None excuse. I don't care. There's nothing you can tell me to tell me how Joe Flacco can be this night and day on the road in his seventh year in the NFL with 5 years worth of playoff experience, deep into the playoffs and a Super Bowl victory. No way. Inexcusable. And so this Ravens team is in trouble now. They went from 5-2, being on top of that division in a matter of 2 weeks, to 5-4, sitting in the cellar of that division. And they got some serious answers that they've got to address. This is a much needed bye week for the Ravens coming up. And when they come back, they've got to figure things out. 7 games left. They're going to have to play Cincinnati again. They're going to have to play Cleveland. And it's not going to be easy. And so, the Baltimore has some huge questions they've got to answer on the offensive side of the football. Steve Smith Sr., he's popped up MIA after a hot start. And so when you look at Pittsburgh on the flip side, this is a team whose ceiling and stock is on the rise. These guys 6-3 right now. These 5-3 right now. These Steelers are. And 6-3. I apologize. They haven't had their bye yet. They're 6-3. And look, Ben Roethlisberger made NFL history, second straight week, 6 touchdown passes. And this offense is on fire right now. You're talking about an offense where you've got a dynamic running back in Le'Veon Bell who can run the football. But even if he is having a rough day on the ground, he can get it out the backfield. He's had a receiving touchdown. So he's certainly a big-time threat. And then you're looking at Antonio Brown, who, by the way, is the best receiver in the NFL right now. Let's deal with reality here. Here's a guy who can beat you on a deep ball. He runs every route. He can pick up tons of yards after the catch. Very elusive. Reminds me of Shady McCoy in the open field. I mean, with his open field moves, very difficult to bring down. High awareness. Him and his quarterback, Ben Roethlisberger, great chemistry. This guy, 10 catches, 133 yards, a touchdown, just an absolute animal out there. And then you got the wide receivers for Pittsburgh coming around right now for you. Started off slow this season with a rookie in Martavis Bryant. Was having a hard time grasping the NFL concepts. A second-year guy in Marcus Wheaton, who was going to be on the football field for the first time this year in a major capacity role. Still was trying to, learn what it takes to be an NFL quarterback. Well, now that those guys are more involved and have a better grasp of the offense, I tell you, this Pittsburgh Steelers team is defense right now. If their defense can play well, which was a major concern starting off the season. And that was another injury that I forgot to talk about there in the first segment. We had to check in on the status of Troy Polamalu. Had to come out of that game with an ankle and knee injury. I don't know how serious it is. I didn't hear his name. The first injury reports coming out this week, so maybe not that serious, but I can tell you this much. If Pittsburgh's defense continues to pick up momentum and continues to play well, the Steelers are a huge threat in the AFC this year. I can certainly tell you that much. Moving on, we had our Monday Night Football game, and what many of us thought was going to be competitive with the Giants at home coming off a bye week, it ended up being a joke. Indianapolis Colts took it to them early, took it to them often. Andrew Luck continues to play spectacular football at a very high level. 358 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, just spread the wealth out. He found T.Y. Hilton, found Dwayne Allen, found Kobe Fleener. Reggie Wayne, his first game back after the elbow injury, found him for a touchdown. And so the biggest concern is going to be for Indianapolis is running the football. At some point, and Andrew Luck is playing at a high level, so I'm not saying that, it can't happen. But at some point, especially when you're talking about playoff football, it's late, the weather's cold outside, it's playoff football. You've got to be able to run. And so, I think Indianapolis is that is going to be an issue that's going to continue to loom over their head. But their defense played solid. And as for Eli Manning and the Giants, 3-5 now. And I think you can see this is a group here that they can't run the football. And Eli Manning and that offense is not set for him to drop back and pass 40 times a football game. They just don't have that. That's not the makeup and chemistry of your team. See, when your team starts getting outside of its identity, then you start having problems because you got people doing things that you wouldn't normally ask them to do. And more than anything, it's probably your offensive line. The Colts don't have that big of a pass rush, but they got after Eli Manning quite a bit last night. And so really for New York, it's their inability to run the football game. They've been struggling, man. They've got to get Rashard Jennings back in there quick. And you know what? It's amazing to me. I seen the same thing happen to the Giants last year. They had a couple backups in there struggling, but then when starter Andre Brown came back, the running game took off. And this year with Rashard Jennings, when he's been in there, they've ran the football very effectively. But when Jennings has been out, they've struggled. And so he missed yesterday's game. I think he'll be back next week at Seattle. But Seattle is very difficult to run the football against, and so I'm not sure if that's the game they want to bring him back in if he's not 100%. But the Giants, it just doesn't look good. The one bright spot that they do have working for them, though, is rookie Odell Beckham Jr. at wide receiver. That guy is a stud. He has got a bright future in the NFL. If you've seen him warming up before games, this guy is out there catching football, not even catching footballs. He's snatching football out of the air with one hand. And I'm talking about I'm seeing 6 or 7 passes in a row. He's just jogging out, and they're throwing it to him, and he's just snatching out the air. And so he had 156 receiving yards on 8 catches through the air. He certainly is going to be a big-time player in the NFL, so you like what you see out of him. But the Giants' secondary and defense, this is a team I think right now as well struggling with morale issues. It's inconsistent, and there's a lot of grumbles in that locker room. Tom Coughlin's got his work cut out trying to get the Giants to finish this season at 500. I think after this year, Tom Coughlin hangs it up. Too many headaches, too many injuries. He's won 2 Super Bowl with the Giants. Why take some extra years off your life trying to motivate this Giants team that it's just not in the cards for him this year. That's going to wrap up our show this week. I'd like to thank all my listeners, all our viewers. Again, if you happen to miss today's broadcast at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the show re-airs every Sunday at 2 p.m. Also, go to the YouTube channel and click on, again, channels, NFLExporter. You can go there, or as a matter of fact, I apologize. The best way to do is go to archives here on Derek Shapiro's show. Just look for NFLExporter. Click on that, and you'll be able to see all of my past episodes, including this one, if you happen to miss today's show. One last time, the call-in number weekly is 716-249-0552. Email is NFLExporter@yahoo.com. Leave your name, city, state, favorite football team, whatever you like for me to talk about during the show. Put it in an email. Follow me on Twitter at NFLExporter. Make sure you go to Facebook.com/NFLExporter for all the above. That is spelled NFLExporter. Everyone out there, have a safe week. Enjoy this week of football. I know it's starting to get cold, so again, everybody make sure, during your travels, pay attention out there on the road, bundle up safely. I know I was underneath the weather last week. I'm quite sure you can hear it in my voice on the show. Definitely nip that in the bud, and I'm going to stay bundled up here. Make sure that doesn't happen again. All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in. It's the NFL Exporter on the Derek Shapiro Show. This was the final wrap. We are signing off 1100.